Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Suzana Rusdi, and today I will be presenting our systematic literature review entitled Wage Push Inflation and Labor Market Shocks. This study reviews previous research to understand how labor market shocks contribute to wage push inflation, how firms respond, and what policy can reduce inflationary pressure while maintaining employment stability. To begin, let's understand the background of the topic. An exogenous disruption, such as pandemic, geopolitical conflict, or supply chain disruption, can suddenly reduce labor supply or change labor market conditions. As becomes scarcer, businesses compete for workers by offering higher wages. These higher labor costs are often passed on to consumers through higher prices, creating wage push inflation. This issue has become increasingly important because many economies experience labor shortages after COVID-19, leading to inflationary pressure worldwide. Although wage push inflation has been widely discussed, there are still several research gaps. First, different studies explain labor market shocks using different theories. Second, previous findings sometimes produce inconsistent results regarding the relationship between wages and inflation. Third, there is limited discussion on how firms adapt to rising labor costs. Therefore, our objective is to systematically review the existing literature and identify the major themes explaining which push inflation in labor market shocks. For this research, we adopted the Prisma framework, which is widely used for systematic literature review. Our literature research was conducted using corpus and web of science. Relevant studies were selected using predefined inclusion and exclusion criteria. After screening and quality assessment, only studies that directly examined which push inflation and labor market shocks were included in the final review. This approach helps ensure transparency and reduce selection bias. This slide summarizes our screening process. We first identified studies from the selected databases. Duplicate articles were removed. Next, title and abstract were screened to eliminate irrelevant paper. The remaining full text articles were then assessed based on our eligibility criteria. Finally, only high-quality and relevant studies were included for thematic analysis. After analyzing the selected studies, we identified three major research themes. The first theme focuses on labor elasticity. The second examines policy and price pass-through. The third investigates firm-level adaptation. These three themes provide a comprehensive understanding of how labor market shocks influence inflation from different perspectives. The first theme highlights the importance of labor elasticity. Many studies found that labor supply become less flexible, employers must increase wages to attract and retain workers. As wages continue to rise, production costs also increase. Eventually, firms transfer these higher costs to consumers through higher prices. Therefore, labor shortages can directly contribute to wage push inflation. Second theme focuses on policy responses and price pass-through. Research suggests that the extent to which higher wages translate into inflation depends on several factors. For example, labor market flexibility, competition between firms, and government policies all influence how much of the increased labor cost is passed on the consumer. Effective monetary and fiscal policy can therefore reduce inflationary pressures without causing excessive. The third theme examines how firms adapt to labor market shocks. Instead of relying on only wage increases, many firms improve productivity through automation, digitalization, and technological innovation. Some organizations also redesign jobs or invest in employee training to improve efficiency. These strategies help reduce labor costs and minimize inflationary pressures over over the long term. This slide summarizes this transmission process. Labor market shock increase wages. Higher wages raise production costs. Businesses then decide whether to absorb this cost or pass them on through higher prices. However, the relationship is moderated by factors such as labor market flexibility, productivity growth, and government intervention. Therefore, wage growth does not always result in the same level of inflation. Based on our review, we recommend three areas for future research. First, researchers should investigate asymmetric wage responses where wages increase faster than they decrease. Second, more studies should examine structural differences since industry respond differently to labor shortages. Finally, future research should consider informal labor markets, especially in developing countries where informal employment represents a significant share of the workforce. This area would provide a more comprehensive understanding of wage push inflation. In conclusion, our systematic literature review shows that labor market shocks play an important role in generating which push inflation. The evidence highlights three key themes: labor elasticity, policy and price pass-through, and firm level adaptation. Understanding this relationship is essential for policymakers because appropriate labor market and macroeconomic policy can help balance inflation control with sustainability. So that's conclude our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.